Germany, weak and in shambles from World War I, allows Hitler to take power. With Hitler came the Nazi regime and the start of the Second World War. With Europe not in favor of another war, they allowed Hitler to annex Austria and occupy Czechoslovakia and remilitarize the Rhineland. Fearing a two-front war, Hitler makes a non-aggression pact with Joseph Stalin and the Soviet Union. Using the military tactics of blitzkrieg, Germany swiftly and ruthlessly overtakes Poland, then turns their attention to France. Within days, France falls. Nazis march all over Europe. One can only hope that the Allied forces can join together and stop them.
Hello, my name is Vasili Paris, and I'm here with Adolf Hitler. So, Hitler, I have one question I would like to ask you. How do you feel about the war so far?
At this point, I feel very confident. I was able to bring down all the foes who opposed me thus far. Conquering all of Europe has been easier than ever.
Well, sir, I hope you have an enjoyable time during this war. Hope everything comes out the way you planned.
Of course it will. We have the Third Reich!
Stalingrad, the turning point for the Soviets in the Eastern Front. After Hitler breaks the non-aggression pact, he invades the USSR and pushes the Soviets all the way back to Stalingrad. Stalin moves waves of Russian soldiers across the Volga River in hopes of holding the city. Stalingrad is one of the bloodiest battles of the war due to close face-to-face combat of urban warfare. The Soviets must sacrifice everything to hold the city and save the war.
Hello, viewers. I'm here in Stalingrad with Stalin himself. So, Stalin, I hear things have been going a little rough so far in the battle.
We have lost many strong men so far, but the Red Army shall never be vanquished, and the Germans' Operation Barbarossa shall not be successful.
Very confident, I see. What is your strategy going forward in the battle?
My generals and I have spoken, and we've decided upon using hugging tactics, which consist of close street combat and forcing our soldiers to move closer to German lines. This prevents the Germans from using larger artillery or bombing raids.
You have lost over 60% of your army in 1942 alone. How does this affect your approach in the battle?
No one knows sacrifice like the Russians, but our men shall fight to the last, until we have our victory.
Thank you for your time, Stalin.
Long live Mother Russia!
Hello, viewers. We are here now on the battlefield of Stalingrad.
Let's go, comrades!
Sir, can I ask you a few questions momentarily?
Get down, super quick.
Alright, what is your name, good sir?
Alexei Volkov.
Alright, now how are the conditions in Stalingrad right now?
Well, they're terrible right now. The bombing raids have torn down all the buildings.
What is keeping hope for you guys to keep fighting?
The civilians and the pride of Mother Russia.
Is it true that Stalin will not let the citizens leave the city?
Sadly, it is. He thinks that if the citizens are in the cities, we will fight harder and keep them alive.
Well, thank you for your time, sir, and don't die on the battlefield.
Let's win, comrades! Ah!
D-Day, June 6, 1944. Allied forces dropped 24,000 airborne troops over Normandy. 156,000 troops were later brought ashore by 5,000 landing crafts. The vast Allied air forces gave cover to their friendly foot soldiers as they stormed the beaches. Dwight Eisenhower of the U.S. Army and Bernard Montgomery of the U.K. led the majority of the Allied forces in hopes to claim victory over the Nazi regime.
I'm here with Dwight Eisenhower. Sir, how do you plan on taking Normandy?
Well, we plan on focusing our troops on 5 landing sites. The sites' code names are Utah, Omaha, Gold, Juno, and Sword, with our Air Force commencing an early attack before our landing.
What were your main goals for invading Normandy?
Well, we hope to take back all of France, but at the very least, we want to at least take the beaches of Normandy so we can have access to France from the north and later on in the war push forward. And what would be a complete failure would be if we lost a bunch of troops and we didn't even get an access point to France.
Right. How are you feeling now that your forces have taken the beaches of Normandy?
I feel that if we can collect ourselves and push forward, we can conquer all of France and slowly take back and push back Germany into Germany itself.
Mm-hmm.
With the Allies' victory over Normandy came a large strategic gain. The beaches, now under Allied control, allowed soldiers, tanks, and equipment to be brought in, creating a larger offensive force to take back France. This battle proved to be a key turning point in the war, due to the fact that it created a more aggressive Western front, and it brought back France under Allied control. Also, it gave the Allied forces an opportunity to push the Germans back further into Europe, hopefully pushing them all the way back to Germany.
Hello viewers, I'm here once again with Adolf Hitler after his defeat on the beaches of Normandy. How did the Allies manage to catch you by surprise on the beaches of Normandy?
We were not completely caught off guard. We were a little bit off guard. But my Field Marshal Rommel noticed similarities in the beach on Italy that the Allies invaded earlier. And so he put on Omaha Beach, which the Allies codenamed, he put more defenses and more men that were veteran hardened. The Allies also fooled us because of the English Channel shore and England. They made an inflatable invasion army, and we thought this was real. So we moved all of our tanks and most of our soldiers over to the English Channel front, and so we were ill-prepared down on Normandy. But if it wasn't for Rommel, my most prized field marshal and tactician, we would be in much worse shape.
Are you worried that the defeat of Normandy will lead to the defeat of the German Empire?
I laugh at your lack of faith in the setback. We are completely prepared for more attacks by the Allied forces, and besides, I have a little trick up my sleeve.
In one day, the enemy smashed through the defenses of the American First Army on a 45-mile front and was biting deep into Luxembourg and Belgium. In 24 hours, the initiative changed hands, and the German army, which had put the word blitzkrieg into all languages, unleashed its desperate offensive.
December 16th, 1944, the outnumbered Allied forces tried to hold off the unexpected surprise attack held by the Germans. The initial 83,000 men and 200-odd-some tanks must hold off the Germans' massive force of 200,000 men and 300-plus tanks. With the 1,600 artillery pieces pounding the Allies, it will certainly be a challenging feat to hold the forested Ardennes region of Wallonia, Belgium, until reinforcements arrive for the Allies.
Hello, General Eisenhower. Hello. Now, we hear you are sending reinforcements to help the Allied soldiers who are bogged down at the Bulge. Is this true?
Yes, it is. It is very true. We are sending 600,000 U.S. troops and another 50,000 British troops. And in total, we are sending 1,600 tanks and another 6,000 aircrafts to assist.
Now, what kept the Allied troops' morale up while waiting on reinforcements to arrive?
The thought of reinforcements arriving was just a huge factor in of itself, that if they didn't have that thought, that they could lose their position and not hold their ground, which could devastate us in this war, because this battle was such a giant turning point in it.
And how momentous was this victory for the Allied forces? And how much closer do you think you are to winning?
This is hopefully the last large clash we will have with the Germans. The Nazis' last assault on us by trying to defeat us here was probably their last major push in the war. So hopefully after this battle there will be no other major conflicts between us, and it would not smoothly, but not as devastating battles would occur after.
Right. Well, thank you for your time, sir.
Thank you very much for having me.
Congratulations on the victory.
Thank you.
The harsh, cold weather conditions proved to be a problem for both the Allies and the Germans. The low fog prevented any aircraft from being used in the beginning of the battle. The fighting conditions were almost unbearable, and many men froze to death. Also, it slowed down supply flow, and this affected the battle greatly. Once Allied reinforcements arrived, the Germans were pushed back, and Operation Unterwacht am Rhein, which means Operation Watch the Rhine, was deemed a failure.
Hello viewers, I'm here once again with Adolf Hitler after his defeat at the Battle of the Bulge. Now, Hitler, do you believe, now that the Allied forces are closing in from the east and the west, that you will be able to hold them off?
I will keep fighting till they march on Berlin and take it.
Why did you attack the Allies at the Battle of the Bulge?
Well, our original plan was called Operation Watch the Rhine. The plan was to split the Allied forces in two, with the Americans and the British split. And so once that happened, we could surround them and kill them because it was a smaller force, because they focused the forces on Normandy. And yeah, it didn't go so well. But our plan was, once they were separated again, like I said earlier, we were going to make them sign a peace treaty. But as you can see, it was a complete failure.
With the victory of Stalingrad, D-Day, and the Bulge, the Allied forces have pushed Hitler and his Nazi regime back into Germany. The Germans' last hope is Berlin.
So Hitler, now that the Allied forces are closing in on Berlin, do you have any last hopes for the survival of the Nazi regime?
So right now, I'm not hiding, I'm fiercely leading my troops in the Fehrbunker. But recently I've also heard that President Roosevelt has died. And it's like, maybe since he dies, the Americans will leave. It's like a Martin, miracle of Brandenburg.
I'm here at the Reichstag, which Russian forces have occupied. The Nazis have fallen and Berlin has been captured. The date? May 2nd, 1945. The Russians began the battle for Berlin on April 16th. The Soviets were 2 million strong against the Germans 766,000. Once the Russians encircled Berlin, it was over for the Nazis. On this very day is the end of Nazi Germany.
Well, I want to say thank you.
Same! Come. You put cyanide in this, right? Okay, cool.
Well, I want to thank you again for allowing me to do these interviews, allowing me in your private bunker. What's your constraint?
Nothing's also right about it. Thank you, but I have bad news. Reichstag has just fallen, and the Nazi regime is gone.
What are you going to do?
I don't know. Hey, make sure you tell all the officers to kill themselves, and destroy all the concentration camps and any traces, okay? Thank you for your time, sir.
Thank you very much.